A very good evening to you and a very warm welcome to TV47 Weekend Edition. So much lined up for you tonight, including a discussion later on the conflicts, the International Day for the Elimination of Conflict in Violence. That will be coming later on in the broadcast. But first, let's take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. Kimuri MP Bunga Market forced to defend his choice to vote yes on the controversial finance bill to his people after they put him on the spot for the contentious issue.
Finance bill ni sheria ambayo inapatia serikali nguvu ya kutafuta pesa ya kufanya maendeleo.
GenZ Protest leads surprise anti-government chant from the podium as a surprised clergyman looks on in shock, even as political heavy hitters are frozen from the usual Sunday service serving of politics in church.
Reject the finance bill. Reject the finance bill. Reject the finance bill.
And the momentum of the Reject Finance Bill protest continues to grow, riding on an upsurge of anti-government sentiment following abductions, injuries and deaths among protesters. All right, a very warm welcome once again to this live broadcast. Catherine Simalo is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Ann Odida. Let's get started. Now, President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua joined the faithfuls of the ACK Diocese of Nyahururu in Laikipia County for today's Sunday service. However, a contingent of police officers was deployed around the church before the president's arrival, following threats by Kenyans to occupy churches in the continued protest against the Finance Bill 2024, as Chichi Josephine now tells us.
President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua joined faithful of the ACK Diocese of Nyahururu in Laikipia County for the Sunday service. However, amid the growing tension from the youth in different parts of the country, leading to mass protests against the Finance Bill 2024, it was business as usual as congregants attending church service at ACK Diocese of Nyahururu had to be subjected to very strict and mandatory security screening before entering the church. The move was widely interpreted as the government's reaction to some Kenyans' threat to occupy churches in continued protest against the Finance Bill 2024, where youth referred to as the GenZs mobilized with hashtags Occupy the Church and Occupy Nyahururu. In his address, Anglican Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit said there were a myriad of challenges facing the country, among them being the controversial finance bill.
What is happening is something unexpected and extraordinary. The Gen Zs have no tribe, no religion, no class, but they are our children. They are not enemies of the nation.
He at the same time said the church was categorical that it would not allow politicians to use church platforms to address the public, and in light with the same said no other leader would be allowed to speak apart from the president and his deputy.
So allow me, Your Excellency, today not to allow as many of us as we normally sometimes be generous with time, but only invite His Excellency, the Deputy President, to greet us and welcome you, and we bring the service to an end.
In his speech, President William Ruto broke his silence over the ongoing protests by Kenyan youth over the Finance Bill 2024, expressing his pride that the young people have stepped forward to be counted in a united and peaceful way.
I am very proud of our young people. They have stepped forward tribeless. They have stepped forward peaceful. And I want to tell them, we are going to engage them. We are going to have a conversation so that together we can build a greater nation.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Do you accept him?
Now, business was at a standstill at Mayanja Market on Chwele Kandui Road in Bunga County after irate residents protested following the mysterious killing of a local businessman yesterday. The businessmen criticized local police officers for illegally collecting security tax without delivering the expected results. They have called upon relevant authorities to intervene and ensure that police inspector is transferred or they'll storm the station.
Watu wa Mayanja wamechoka na inspector hapa Mayanja anaitwa Benjamin. Benjamin huyo inspector alifanya koti hapa Bungoma hapa Mayanja stenda. Yeye mwenyewe ndio magistrate, yeye mwenyewe ndio judge, yeye mwenyewe ndio prosecutor. Akishika mtu yeyote hapa Mayanja anafungia hapa ndani, anataka pesa anataka. Akishika mtoto hata mama mboga anamwambia anataka shilingi 1500. Akishika mtu wa boda anataka shilingi 1500. Anakuja kwa paa, anashika watu wenye wanakunywa pombe kwa paa, anawaambia watoe pesa. Sasa watu wameanza, tumesema Benjamin must Benjamin must naambia MP wetu wa Kandui, naambia MP wetu wa Kandui Choni Makali, tafadhali wakili tembea Mayanja, ona shida watu wa Mayanja wanapitia. Naambia gavana wetu apita Mayanja kone shida nye watu wa Mayanja wanapitia. Tuko na huyo inspector anatesa watu sana. Alikuja kutafuta pesa Mayanja. Sisi watu wa Mayanja tumefanya nini? Tumechoka. Tumesema leo lazima atoke hapa.
Acha kutumiwa. Vijana tuna kazi. Ukiweka kitu kidogo hapa anakuja kushika. Ukiweka kama pool ndio yeye amekuja kuchukua. Nianze kuiba ama nifanye nini? Sitatafuta kitu yote. Huyo jamaa ametuchosha sana. Akishika kitu kama pool anakuambia anataka 10,000. Ya kazi gani? Kila kitu yeye ni magistrate, yeye ni magistrate, yeye ni prosecutor, yeye ni inspector. Tujue alisomea nini? Ametuchosha hii Mayanja. Alafu hali ya usalama ni mbaya sana. Watu wanaua. Jana mzee ameuliwa akatupwa ndani ya choo. Ajui hiyo. Yeye anajua watu. Huyo mzee amekufa, kazi yake ni kuchukua hongo. Nende alikuwa wa mwisho. Nende alikuwa wa mwisho kuchukua hongo kwa hiyo ba. Na huyo mzee akakufa. Atatuambia alikufa namna gani? Nafaa tuelezee.
Now, Juja Member of Parliament George Kimuri has alleged that MPs were offered 2 million Kenyan shillings each to support the Finance Bill 2024-2025. Speaking at AIPCA Ndurumo Church in Juja constituency, Kimuri claimed that he refused the bribe and voted against the bill, which has raised heated debate due to proposed tax hikes and economic measures to ordinary citizens. Kimuri condemned police brutality witnessed during recent protest and warned of potential unrest of frustrated youths if the finance bill is passed by the president.
Nitodo nitwete iro bia nemorona bilioni igere giuria milioni igere ikurutwo ni undu wa.
All right. Now, Kimilili Member of Parliament Masego Barasa earlier today met with the Kimilili constituents at Chebukwabi village to defend his stand on his decision to vote yes in support of the 2024 finance bill. Speaking when addressing the residents, the Member of Parliament defended his stand by stating that he voted yes for the interest of the people of Kimilili after the government amended the controversial bill and got rid of the tax levy on bread and transport levy on sugarcane transportation. Barasa further claimed that the proposed taxes will help the government raise funds for projects including upgrading of roads and permanent employment of JSS teachers. Barasa's move follows the heavily critical and outraged reaction of many Kenyans towards their leaders based on their voting on the Finance Bill 2024 last Thursday.
Finance Bill ni sheria ambayo inapatia serikali nguvu ya kutafuta pesa ya kufanya maendeleo. Tuliondoa vipengele ambayo inamfinya mwananchi wa kawaida. Kipengele kama ambayo ilikuwa inasema kwamba mayai iwekewe ushuru, tumetoa mayai ya Kenya, tumetoa ushuru na tumeweka mayai ya kutoka nchi za nje, tumeweka ushuru kubwa ili mayai ambayo inatoka Uganda inakuja kuuzwa hapa Kenya ikose soko. Hii diapers ambayo tunafunga watoto pamoja na sanitary towel ambayo wamama wetu na watoto wetu wanatumia kila wakati. Hiyo yote serikali ya Kenya tumeondoa ushuru, lakini tumeweka ushuru kwa wale ambao wanaimport bidhaa hizo kutoka mainchi ya China.
Contrary to past demonstrations featuring rowdy crowds, a destruction of property and looting, the latest protests are quite different thanks to revolution of the digital age. Social media has also turned out to be a very active tool, so much so that content creators have translated the Finance Bill 2024 into vernacular languages. George Meringa had a sit-down with Mushiri Mike, a content creator who translated the Finance Bill 2024 to Kikuyu. Take a look.
Turarĩrĩirie finance bill na gĩthũngũ. Rĩu ũmũthĩ ndĩrenda tũmĩarĩrĩrie na gĩkũyũ.
Oh well, don't get it twisted. We are not about to broadcast in Kikuyu. Now, chances are high that you have most probably watched this video. Originally published on TikTok, content creator Mike Mushiri debunked the Finance Bill 2024 in vernacular. His choice of language, Kikuyu. He is among the thousands of youths who have turned up for the recent demonstrations. In this sit-down interview, Mushiri tells me why he opted to take that route, which has been applauded far and wide.
At the moment, there are parents who are asking their children, "Mbona una protest? Why are you demonstrating? Why are you hitting the streets?" So we are consolidating the information that we have concerning the finance bill into a language that's going to be easier for them to understand.
Haya. Chena wamba kama ikia sasa ekiare.
No sooner had he published his translated video than other Kenyans came out to publish in their mother tongue. Their tools of trade, only a smartphone and internet connection. The message has been translated to over 8 languages, and Mike says this is just the beginning.
We've also done it in sign language. And this is inclusion. This is inclusion. So when we say that we are protesting against the punitive taxes, against the punitive policies, we want to include every Kenyan citizen, and we want even the citizen who is in the like at the farthest corner of Kenya to truly understand what we mean when we say that this is a government that doesn't care.
At the age of 25, Mike, a biomed graduate, found his footing on social media. From sciences to the love of the arts, he is an accomplished content creator, and he has lately gotten grip of the ropes of activism. A new role, he says, was driven by the need for change in the country.
I think I speak for everyone when I say we do not want any politician to ride on this wave, because this is a movement for the youth. Not just for the youth, for every Kenyan, for Kenyans and by Kenyans. We are fighting for the right of the farmer, affordable access to genuine fertilizer.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has dismissed the protests, even alluding to the aid of external forces.
GenZ tafadhali mnisikize, kwa sababu kuna vile nimesikiza hii kelele nikasikiza, na kuna watu wako genuine na ndio wengi ambao wanauliza maswali genuine, lakini kuna ka group kako mahali ambao nikiangalia kwa umbali could be even there is a foreign hand into this whole issue.
Mwaura joining the list of other leaders who have echoed similar statements, and Mike says they are getting it all wrong.
And I hate the way the government officials and the government leaders, I won't even refer to them as leaders, the government politicians, are referring when they are talking about Gen Zs, they are talking to us in a very condescending way. They think we're children, and what we are gonna do, we're gonna stop in a few days, we're gonna relent. But then what they don't know, I think the biggest mistake this government is doing is underestimating the power, energy, effort, and passion that the youth have, that the Gen Z have. They've been dismissing us, claiming that we are not well informed. People are just posting videos on social media talking about the finance bill. They are not well informed, where we are informing ourselves now.
I was curious, what is the end goal of all this?
This is now beyond rejecting the finance bill. This is now implementing change, getting rid of all the policies that do not work in favor of the common mwananchi.
And his message to President William Ruto?
We are many. We are many, we are well informed, and we know what we want. And what we want is change. We want new policies. We want the finance bill to be scrapped off in its entirety. And we want good governance.
President William Ruto on Sunday said he has heard the concerns of young people protesting and intends to engage them. But even as the head of state intends to engage these increasingly enlightened lot, eyes will be on how the new week goes, even as protesters maintain that their zeal is only but stronger. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
Indeed, an artful protest. Maringa, we're looking forward to seeing more languages debunk the Finance Bill 2024. Now, amid mixed reactions about the Finance Bill, the leadership of the Anglican Church has made a decision not to allow any form of politics in church. And following this, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was today denied an opportunity to invite fellow politicians to give speeches by the Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit. Mazden Wambugu has more.
The Anglican Church leaders have set conditions barring politicians from engaging in politics within the church premises. Today, the Deputy President was publicly prohibited from welcoming a politician on stage.
A decision was made last night that they will not speak today. Even myself, I was not to speak.
The church guidelines initially stated that only the President, William Ruto, would address the congregation, forcing the deputy to engage his persuasive skills to try to gain a reprieve for his intentions to no avail.
Mimi nilikuwa administrator, nilikuwa nafaa uniform. Mimi ni mtu ya discipline kama wewe. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kosana. So finally we are almost getting there. Nikamkumbusha pia wewe ujue mimi bibi yako anaitwa Dorcas Gachagua. Yangu anaitwa Dorcas Gachagua.
The Archbishop Ole Sapit, however, will not budge from his resolve, further calling for a moment of observation and unity towards positively solving the challenges faced as a country.
This is a discerning moment. Not so much talking, but I think listening to one another and reaching out to one another. Even in what is going on, those are children from our families. Let us not use any excessive force, but we also urge them not to be lawless and destroy or maim or kill.
However, in a total contrast to the events in Nyahururu, GenZ Protester leads a surprise anti-government charge from the podium of the Holy Family Basilica here in Nairobi.
Reject the finance bill. 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 Reject the finance bill.
Mazden Wambugu, TV47.
The nationwide protest from the Generation Z, Gen Zs, both physically and on social media platforms, seems to be turning heads of unexpected parties, from silence and condemnation from the government to supporting their cause and struggle. Take a look.
It looks like the loud noise made by Gen Zs on the streets and social media on rejecting the finance bill may just be falling into the right ears. This is witnessed from comments made by Kenyans from different walks of life, congratulating the young generation on the well-put-up fight that knows no ethnicity, no political influence.
Kwa sababu kwanza juzi walifanya maandamano yao, hata rafiki yangu babu wengine walijaribu kuenda siju kuwaongelesha, wakakataa. Kwa sababu hao vijana kwanza sio wa kabila. Wako kwa generation mzuri sana. Hawa vijana.
Surprisingly, or perhaps not surprisingly, political and religious leaders of different persuasions have commented on this upsurge. Oscar Sudi, MP of Kapseret constituency, was one of the politicians who seemed to support the young protesters' initiative.
Hawa vijana ni vijana wetu. Lazima tuwasikize. Lazima tutembee na wao. Lazima tujue ni nini wanataka. Kutokea kule nyumbani mpaka penye wanatembelea. Kwa mimi nataka niambia hawa vijana, ninawapongeza sana.
The church as well was not left behind, as Jackson Nasor Ole Sapit, Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Kenya, advocated for the government to listen to the Gen Zs.
Courage that even in what is going on, Those are children from our families. Let us not use any excessive force, but we also urge them not to be lawless and destroy or maim or kill.
The Devolution Empowerment Party, as well as the MBUS political party, has appealed to the president to listen to the youth who are under the umbrella of Gen Zs and millennials, while blaming the MPs for the protests.
We want these youth to feel that they are part and parcel of Kenya. Yes. And they are entitled to air their grievances to the government that they elected. So, we are here to request His Excellency the President, please invite them around the table, let them say what they have to say, and let us address them. Because even when I look at this budget of 4 trillion, I cannot see any money which has been allocated for the welfare of the youth.
A question lingers, however. Is the support received from the political class welcome or not? Furthermore, is it sincere or is it not? Reporting for TV47, Agnes Chindo.
Thank you, Agnes, for that report. Now, wife to the late Lakeview Ward MCA Karan Jambors in Naivasha cheated death narrowly Sunday after allegedly taking poison at her Nyondia home was neutralized at Naivasha Hospital. Buru died in a road crash at Elementaita Naivasha Nakuru Highway 4 years ago. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njuru with that report.
It was a state of mixed emotions, relief, dismay and almost grief as Naivasha Member of Parliament Jane Kehara led a handful of friends to visit the wife of the late Lakeview MCA Karan Jambors in hospital ward after a suicide attempt by poison.
Who's been very stressed because of death. She's a wife of a former MCA of Lakeview Ward, and when Karanja passed on, I know the president took care of her, but because of the economic hardships we have, she has had her business go down, and she's suffering because she's not been able to feed her children. And the only home that the president built for her is almost being auctioned.
It is alleged that the widow of the late popular MCA was deeply troubled by the debt she has of 1.5 million shillings and the collapse of her business, and led to the attempt suicide earlier today.
Ni kweli akona deni ambayo anafaa kulipa, hana kazi na hata watoto na chakula kupata ni gumu.
Watu wasijue sababu ya mashida. Watu wako na mashida, everybody wako na problem, lakini ni vizuri watu wakiongea. Ukiwa na shida usinyamaze. Ongea, share with your friends, sababu problem shared is half solved.
Her late husband Karan Jambors was a close associate of President William Ruto and died on 19th April 2020 in a road accident. As such, the president's intervention through delegation of MP Jane Kehara acknowledged the settlement of the debt.
Currently, and unfortunately, I've spoken to the president because I was with him in Nyahururu, and I know he's going to do something.
On Friday this week, the residents of Naivasha are organizing a fundraising event to offset the widows' other debts.
Karan Jambors alikuwa rafiki sana ya president, mheshimiwa gavana wetu Susan na viongozi wale wengine wote tushirikiane katika kuchanga hii pesa.
Damaris Wanjiku Karanja expressed remorse of her attempted suicide, asking for pardon from the public for her actions.
Kindly your president forgive me. Yeah.
Reporting for TV47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njero.
Now, the little-known Shin, a Christian movement with roots in South Korea, on Sunday celebrated recruitment of its 1,000 members in Kenya since inception in 2017. This increases the Shin congregation members by more than 100,000 globally, among them Kenyans. Now, Shin, a Korean word that means new heaven, new earth, was established in 1984 in South Korea by Lee Man-hee. Here in Kenya, one has to learn Korean language for seamless communication with church leaders and for the purpose of singing, which only happens in Korean. Church leaders said their focus was to recruit as many Kenyans as possible with the intention to open more branches across the country.
Finally, we have achieved Changmyeong. Changmyeong is a 1,000, including also same time, but everyone is coming.
We began in 2017, right? And by the time we are beginning, we began with very few people, less than 10. And by the grace of God, we are not talking of 1,000 people who have gathered here under the name of Shin Church of Jesus. What actually distinguishes us from other Christian churches out there is the prophecy of the fulfillment of Revelation. That is the most important thing about Shin Church of Jesus Christ. So we actually testify. People who are seated here, all of them, the more than 1,000 people, can actually testify to the realities of fulfillment of Revelation. That is one thing that makes us very unique from other churches out there.
It is beneficial because our leader comes from Korea. So for better